Yes, don't worry, I'm still continuing my top 10 animated movies of each decade. So yeah, let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 favorite classic animated movies of all time. Yes, my favorite classic animated movies. Yes, this is just a continuation, pretty much the ending of my top 10 animated movies of each decade. I did the 2010s, the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, all my favorite animated movies of all those decades. And now I just thought I'd do the classic animated movies from 1930 to 1979. The reason I'm not doing each decade from 70s and 60s is because there's not a lot of animated movies that came out during these decades. Not enough to make a top 10 list. There was barely any animated movies that came out in the 30s and stuff, so it's very hard to do a top 10 for a lot of these decades because this is when animation was like still growing and stuff. It was growing as a genre and stuff. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great classic animated films, just not enough to do each decade, so I just thought I'd do classic animated movies, 1930 to 1979. So let's get to it. Here's my favorite animated movies of the classic era of animation. And before top 10, let's gotta have your honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are Cinderella, Robin Hood, Pinocchio, The Rescuers, 101 Dalmatians, Lady and the Tramp, and Snoopy Come Home. All great films. Just couldn't meet the top 10 list. But what did my top 10 was my number 10. My number 10 is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Hi-ho! Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is so great. Came out in 1839. The very first animated Disney film and an amazing film. Great film. Animation, beautiful. Gorgeous. Is it creepy? At times. That fucking witch. When the evil queen turns into that old fucking witch, scared the living shit out of me when I was a kid. Even still now, it kind of creeps me out. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not. Seriously. So, Snow White is the only flaw I have with this movie. She's kind of a boring character, kind of a bland character with kind of an annoying voice, but what makes this good was the animation, the style. The style is beautiful. The animals look cool. And of course, the Seven Dwarfs. The Seven Dwarfs are awesome. I love that their names match their personalities and stuff. They're all just great characters. I love the dwarfs. I also love the villain. The evil queen is a great villain. She's devious. She's mischief. She damn near almost basically kills Snow White and stuff. And when she turns to the old lady, she is so creepy. The climax to the film when the dwarfs are like hunting her down and she falls off the cliff. Just a very dark climax to a Disney film. And I loved this movie. I thought this is a great film. Has its nitpicks. It's not like a brilliant and a perfect film, but it's definitely a great one and one of my favorites of the classic era. Coming at number 9 is Dumbo. Dumbo is another great, adorable, cute, pretty dark. It is still good. The animation is gorgeous. The characters are great. It is sad. It is dark. Dumbo is a fantastic character. A lot of the side characters in the circus are great characters. It has a good message to it. It has a good heart to it. There was some really great music in it as well, and I think this is a great film. This is a film, actually, later in life I appreciated more. I didn't like this movie as much as a kid, but as I got older, I learned to appreciate it more, the style, the animation, the storytelling. It's a great film. Dumbo, one of my favorites. Coming in number 8 is The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Yes, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad is another film I've talked a lot about on this channel. This is a film I grew up with, mostly because of the Sleepy Hollow story. I always skipped The Wind in the Willow and went straight to Sleepy Hollow. As I got older, I kind of almost do the same. The Wind in the Willow story is still good. The Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is enjoyable. It's fun. It's got good animation. It's fun and flashy. Great for the family. It's just not the reason why I watched this film. I watched this film to watch the 40-minute Sleepy Hollow story with Ichabod Crane getting chased by the Headless Horseman. It's so good. The Sleepy Hollow story is amazing. If it was just the Sleepy Hollow story, this would be like one of my favorite Disney films of all time. But it has the Wind in the Willow story, so it kind of drags it down a little bit. But still, I love the Sleepy Hollow story. It's dark, it's twisted, it's got a great song, it's got great characters, it shows the realism of Ichabod Crane, it's got a very dark ending. They killed the main character off in the ending. It's very dark, and the Headless Horseman is just so enjoyable. It just has great colors to it. It has great textures. It's very vibrant. It feels very Halloween when I watch it. That's why I watch it every Halloween, and it's just such a great story. The other story is good. It's fine for what it is, but the Sleepy Hollow story is what really makes it, and that's why I love The Adventures of Ichabod Mr. Toad, because the Sleepy Hollow story is amazing. Coming number 7 is Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty, again, has its issues. Like, Aurora is a very forgettable, pretty bland main character, and even the prince is also very bland and forgettable. But the animation is gorgeous. The songs are also very beautiful and very lovely. The fairy godmothers, the 3 of them, the 3 fairies, are such great and likable characters. And Maleficent is one of the best Disney villains out there. Not the best, she is one of the best though. She is so good, she is so devious, she is so fucking creepy. And that climax with the prince fighting the dragon, just such a great climax. The animation and the darkness in this film are just so great. Again, I love the songs, I love the story. I always just feel like I'm in a very nice fairy tale when I watch this movie. That's why I love it so much. Again, it has its problems, just like Snow White does, but it's still a great film. Coming number 6 is Peter Pan. Peter Pan's always been a favorite of mine. I loved this as a kid, still love it now. I love Peter Pan, I love Wendy, I love Captain James Hook, Shmi, all these great characters. The Lost Boys are awesome. It's got great music, it's very fun, it's very adventurous. It's got some actually thought-provoking themes in the film as well. I love some of the over-the-top action sequences in the movie as well. Tiger Lily, yeah, that whole scene with Tiger Lily and her people, again, it's questionable. Again, Disney had some very questionable things back in the classic era, but the film itself is still a good movie with good songs, good characters, good action. Loved it as a kid, has a lot of nostalgia for me, still love it now. It's Peter Pan. Coming number 5 is A Charlie Brown Christmas. A Charlie Brown Christmas, love it. I watch this every Christmas, every year. I have been for like 22 years. I grew up with the Peanuts cartoon, the Charlie Brown cartoon. I love the Charlie Brown movies. That's why Snoopy Come Home is in my honorable mentions. I love Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, The Great Pumpkin. I love the Charlie Brown movies. I love even the new Peanuts movie. A Charlie Brown Christmas is my favorite Charlie Brown film. This is such a great film. It has a great message to it. All the characters are great and funny and enjoyable. It has that Christmas spirit, has that Christmas charm. Again, it has one of my favorite endings to any Christmas film. It's just so lovable. It's just so enjoyable. It's great for the whole family. Watch it every Christmas. Absolutely adore it. Coming number 4 is Bambi. Bambi is a very ambitious film. That's why I love Bambi so much. It's such a different Disney film. This movie could have easily failed. It could have failed horribly because it's about, it's about a deer, and it's his friend, the skunk, and his friend, Thumper, and he's a bunny rabbit and stuff. They could have easily made this the most sappy movie, most kid-friendly movie out there, but they didn't. The movie even starts off very, very dark, and it begins with Bambi's mom getting shot by a hunter. That's dark shit, and then you get to see his dad, and his dad's a very scary character. And the movie doesn't have a distinct villain. It's the animals versus nature, human nature and stuff. And the villain itself is people, it's humans and stuff. It's just animals living their lives in the forest and in the wild, and then basically trying to survive against the humans and stuff. That's literally all this movie is about. And it's about Bambi growing up with his friends, Flower and Thumper and all that stuff. And it's a really great film. I love how simple this movie is, and it's beautiful. The animation is absolutely stunning. It is so moving. It is very atmospheric. The beginning is so fucking dark, and there's a lot of dark moments and very intense moments in this film. And I admire this film so much. I admire it so much. Again, it's a film I didn't watch a lot as a kid, but I love it more and more now as an adult. It's very smart. It's very ambitious. It's such a different film. Even to this day, it's one of the most unique and different Disney films out there, and that's why I love it. I absolutely adore Bambi. It's a great film. Show your kids it. It's a great film. Coming number 3 is Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is just such a fun and utter insane film. This is just an absolutely out there idea. It's so great. The whole movie, you feel like you're on a big acid trip because it's Alice going through Wonderland. It's almost like a dreamlike world she's in, where she meets all of the great characters like the Cheshire Cat, the frickin' Mad Hatter, the evil Queen of Hearts and stuff, and oh my god, this movie's fantastic. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. It is just out there. The visuals are fantastic. The animation is great. The movie's so in your face and it's just so freaking trippy. It just tries so hard to mess with your head. It's so great. It's just such a wild ride. This whole movie is just like one big wild ride. You're on this adventure with Alice through this really weird and twisted world, and it's fantastic. Love the characters. Alice is great. Love the musical numbers. Love the villain. Love the animation. I love the trippiness. One of my favorite Disney films of all time. So good. Coming number 2 is Yellow Submarine. Yes, finally, a non-Disney film. This is a great movie. Yellow Submarine has the Beatles. It is a great fun adventure story. Great musical. There's nothing much else to say. If you haven't seen this movie yet, go check it out. It's a very short 90-minute animated film with the Beatles, a lot of great voice actors, a very trippy kind of stylistic animation film. It's really good. It's definitely one of my favorites of the classic era. It's just a film you need to watch if you love cinema and you love animated films. You just gotta watch it to say you watch it. And after you do, you will find it groundbreaking and something unique and different, and definitely one of the greatest anime films you will ever watch during the classic era of animation. And my number 1 favorite animated film during the classic era of 1930 to 1979 is, you all know what it is. You all know what it is. It's Fantasia, obviously. Fantasia is my favorite animated Disney film of all time. The musical abstract numbers and stuff, it's not like a musical. It's orchestra musical. There is no distinct characters in this film. There's no hero, there's no villain. It's just an orchestra playing their music when all this animation is going around and stuff, telling their story through visual storytelling. The story is through animation, through visuals, music, and stuff. My favorite numbers are like Night at Bald Mountain. Night at Bald Mountain is my favorite musical number with the friggin' devil and stuff. And I love, like, the opening number is really good, too. And I love The Sorcerer's Apprentice. That it's got Mickey Mouse. I love this movie. I've praised it to death so many times. The animation, the music, the simplicity, how they tell story just through visuals and music is so brilliant and so compelling and so moving. It's one of the greatest anime films I have ever watched in my entire life, and of course it's my favorite during the classic era. So yeah, that was my top 10 favorite animated films during the classic era of 1930 to 1979. Yes, my next animation list will be my favorite animated films of all time, so look forward to that. So yeah, in the comment section below, please tell me, did you rate this top 10 list? If not, give me your top 10 favorite animated films during the classic era of 1930 to 1979. Give me your favorites. Comment below, let me know. And as always, for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.